Sam, fallow week done and dusted.
Mm-hmm.
How are you mentally? How are you physically?
Yeah, good. Yeah. We got up to York for the fallow week for the training day, got a few days away at home and stuff. So yeah, nice to get a bit of normality, get away for a few days and nice to do something a bit different up north.
When do you start getting itchy feet in those fallow weeks and you think, I want to be back?
Yeah, it's weird, like not having a game is a bit different. It's probably a little bit, which I think the coaches deal with well, to be fair, structuring the week differently, because you obviously haven't got a game to prepare for and there's not that like anticipation, so trying to do stuff a bit differently. But it's good, it's nice to have a little reset, I guess.
When do thoughts move away from what happened against Scotland and move onwards to Ireland?
Pretty quickly, like you don't have time to dwell a little bit. You try and do your review stuff to learn what you can. But I guess that's in the couple of days maybe after the game, or the first few days you're in camp for the fallow week. So I think it's pretty, you don't have time to sort of lick your wounds too much. You kind of got to get on to the next job. So yeah, we were pretty, as soon as we got back in, we were pretty immediately switched to.
What about you? Are you one of these guys who lingers on previous results, or do you look forward?
No, not too much. Like you try and, it's easy when you're winning to sort of look over stuff. So I think the key is to try and treat them, whether you win or lose, treat them both pretty similarly in terms of your review process. And yeah, the next job mentality is quite a big one in terms of what we're trying to do here. So yeah, we try and get on as quickly as we can.
Give me a sense of the mood in the camp, not necessarily based on results, but a new campaign, a few new faces. How different does it feel?
Yeah, for me, very different. Like this is the first full campaign I've done with Steve, but it's it's good. It's a very forward-thinking group. I think there's an element of we're building to something bigger than obviously the performances we've got at the moment. You got to kind of get that balance of looking to the future and what we're trying to do and getting a result on the weekend or performance on the weekend. So I think we're in that sort of that transitory phase, but at the same time you've got to fully respect the competition, the importance, the significance to us as a team and as a country. Like the ability to represent your country is amazing. So to be here is an honour, and to play on the weekend and stuff. So yeah, it's trying to get that balance right between, I guess, looking forward at what we're trying to do and having a picture of that and still putting in a performance we're proud of and that we're happy with.
You've been involved in some of the most memorable England performances of recent times. How far off is this England team from touching those moments again?
It's different every time. The game's evolving constantly and teams are evolving, and I think for me, like there's that feeling that we're doing something right in my head, like the performances, the way it feels when you're playing. I think you're never that far off. You're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as people think you are. So I see a lot of potential, and I see a lot of the good stuff we're doing. Maybe people outside don't quite see that unless you're in the environment, but from what we're trying to do, I think we're not a million miles off.
Outside noise is a big thing, and obviously you're there to entertain. Fans want to be entertained, but it seems as though the raw materials are there in this England team, and particularly in the back row. There's a group of players in the back row, and we've had in the past, the Kamikaze kids under Eddie's tenure, and now we've got yourself, but young guys coming through. Do you feel in that group, highly competitive group that you're in, you've got some absolute gems?
Definitely, and like a good mixture of like ages and abilities, and there's always I think the back row is probably always one of the most varied groups because you've got such a variety of skill sets and what people can be. Obviously, like Courtney left a decent sort of sizable hole at 6, so there's a sort of an element of like newness to it of we're trying to find that balance again and those combinations again. But guys like Ethan and Chandler, like the first time I've worked with them, like incredible athletes, impressive people as well, like as learners and as people that you're trying to build connections with and learn how they operate and how they play and what works for them, what they need and stuff. So there's always an excitement about the back row for me because of the amount of variety you get, and I think that's his feeling at the moment. It's feeling competitive, like you're always training with two very good, very sort of skilled in different ways, but very skilled back rows.
Tell me about Chandler, because he's been getting a little bit of stick. For not knowing who Richard Hill is, which I guess when you look at the age, it's kind
Which is
of
impressive given how many clips of himself Hilly's probably shown him.
yeah. So
Yeah.
to talk us through that, explain this marvelous moment in the evolution of a player's knowledge.
What with Hill?
Yeah,
I don't know. Did he not know?
he didn't know who Richard Hill was.
Brilliant. All I know is of the day that I think it was Ellis was checking up on him. He saw him meeting with Hilly and asked him if he'd showed Chandler clips of himself from 2003, and Chandler had just gone like, yeah, I think he'd been showing him some old archive footage. But no, on a genuine note, Hilly is incredibly helpful for the back row as a sort of an outside set of eyes, like kind of because he sees everything we do without necessarily being that involved in the training day to day. But he's obviously a very experienced man and can kind of. The game's not that different, is it?
Did he spot you when you were at Ospreys? Would he have spotted you, or were you already on that?
I'd done England under 18. I'd done England under 18s, and then Hilly was the one that sort of kept in touch with me when I moved over. But sorry, you asked about Chandler. He's a freak athlete. He's a phenomenal. Like, I don't think I've seen someone with as much like raw power. Is he 19, 20?
Yeah, it's ridiculously
So I couldn't
young.
believe it. Like the way he moves, the way he like learns. I think he's still relatively he's young, so he would be relatively new to like the set piece element. I think he played a bit more 8, so that 6 role and stuff is something he's sort of moulding himself into. But yeah, he's a freak athlete, and yeah, I see it like he's powerful. He can move well, like he can jump and he can run. So he's exciting to see what he can do.
Well, he'll look at you and he'll think this is a freak athlete as well, and we marvel.
I doubt. No.
One of the things you do.
No.
I'm thinking of I mentioned before the name of Kamikaze Kids. That pictures that there's an image in people's minds.
Yeah.
But the new defence that England want, this rush defence. I mean that plays into your hands. That's what you're all about. That's what he'll see from you. Yeah. This no holds barred. Does that appeal to you? Is this now an England team that's playing the way you want to play?
I think it appeals to everyone. Like I think it benefits everyone. Like there's certain styles of defence that maybe don't take advantage of people's skill sets, and maybe the blitz is more suited. I say blitz because all it really is you're just putting, like every defence wants to put people under pressure and this is just putting people under pressure sort of more spatially rather than, if you look at more connected defences like Scotland or they want to put 2 men in a tackle and they want to test you in a contact area, whereas I guess this defence is just it's no different to any other. It's just the pressure is spatial and you got less time essentially is what we're trying to create. But yeah, I think it benefits everyone because there's a role, like there's a certainty to it, there's a clarity to it which lends itself to intensity. I think if you know exactly what you're doing within a system, you can bring like 100% of yourself. So I like it for that reason, for the clarity and the certainty that I guess it gives you, and the intensity that you have to bring to it. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Like if you don't bring intensity to it with any defence, like it doesn't work.
Yeah, and keeping that intensity for a full 80 minutes, 90 minutes, 100 minutes, depending how many breaks there are, is going to be massive. Against Ireland, it's going to be essential. Let's focus on them because they get England out of the way, then it's the smallish matter of Italy at home, and they've got another Grand Slam.
Yeah.
There are 2 things that you need to do. You need to win for England's sake, but there's a party to be spoiled, isn't there? And they've done that to England on enough occasions.
Yeah, I think like sort of respectfully, I'll let you look at the big picture stuff. Like I think for us, you never, as a player, I don't think you've got the ability to look at like, is there a Grand Slam on the line, or is there this like a Triple Crown or like things? Is there like a bigger picture to it? For us, I think we only really get to focus on the game, and we only really can and probably should focus on the game for what it is. You've got so much like that you're trying to implement in training from team to team, like week to week, that you're trying to change and tweak and go after. But for us, it's a different, like it's a very good challenge for us. I think it's what kind of where we want to be is against the best teams, and they have been at the top of their game for a long time. So I think it's something we've got to look forward to because you're able to really test yourself, and the small things, the small margins, or actions or behaviours or things you do on the pitch are what really matter. So yeah, they're a very good team, and I think we're looking forward to it.
But isn't there a little bit? Wouldn't there be a little bit when you're looking for those small margins? just to give you that edge, you just think we could really annoy him today? Does that not
Yeah.
lurk somewhere?
I think you'd annoy every team by beating them.
Yeah,
So I
okay,
think,
fair enough.
like we'd have annoyed Scotland if we'd have put a, if we'd have got a result there. So
Yeah.
I think there's an element of that every game,
Okay.
especially playing for England seems to be.
Okay. What about, so when you look at Ireland and you look how successful they are there elements of the Irish game you think, I wish we could do that, or that's what we need to do, that's what I would want to do?
There's things they do very well. Sorry, that I think realistically like their ability to generate quick ball, for example, like their contact skills are pretty impressive to me anyway. Like the work they do around the breakdown, both sides of the ball, like which essentially is the game. Like you can't play any attack you want with a breakdown that isn't functioning. Vice versa, if you've got quick ball, you can play pretty much however you want. If you've got the ability to stop or slow down opposition ball, you can again stop them attacking how they want, defend how you want. So I think that's one element I look at theirs that I think is pretty has been like impressively consistent and across the board. Like it's not just you play teams like Wales, for instance. Tommy Raffel's an incredible jackler, but your focus then is around him. Whereas when you play in Ireland, they're 1 to 15. Their contact skills, breakdown skills are pretty good. So yeah, it's a more across the board threat, which means that we as a team have kind of got to be on it more.
And what about the threat that you then bring in? Let's look at you, because clearly there are moments of absolute excellence in your international career so far, and then injuries have blighted you. There have been problems there, but you're fit, you're putting a run of games together, Bath are flying. Do you feel that you're in a good place? I'm just, that sounds silly, like happy to, I know it sounds stupid, happy to be here. But isn't that the most important thing, being happy?
Yeah, 100%. It's what,
yeah.
like, real. It's. I'm sure, like from playing, it's very easy to sort of set a goal and then not realise that everything's going well. Like as a player, I think you want challenge, like, or you're used to challenge or adversity. So when things go well, you start to get a bit suspicious, or you're not quite. You're looking for the but you're looking for the challenge or the but, or what's not going well. So. My aim was to sort of get back in this team and get back playing, and probably can take a minute and say like, okay, that's happening. So I'm happy from that point of view, and yeah, it's a great group, and I'm enjoying what we're trying to do. I'm enjoying what we're trying to be about, and I think hopefully that will start to show. I think there'll be a bit of latent learning, whether it happens this weekend or the weekend after. There's always going to be an element of when there's change, like latent learning, and then I think suddenly it clicks and then you're onto something. And I think the only people realistically that will see that are the people that are in the room or knowing what we're trying to do. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot, and yeah, just glad to be, like you say, putting some games together and getting back out there.
Well, it's good to see you back, and it's good to see you doing so well. Good luck.
Thank you.
Go well against Ireland.
Thank you very much.
Good man.